We're born into our names, but we become family by heart. During my wife and my journey through infertility, foster care, and a recent adoption, we searched for and relied on a lot of help. If you're on a similar journey, then this podcast is for you. Or maybe you're curious about the process or looking to support someone on their journey. We got you covered. Each episode has a story to inspire and or resources to turn to. We're all family here. This is Family by Heart. What's up, family? Welcome to another episode of Family by Heart. I'm your host, Dustin Gruss. And last week was a very special week here in the Gruss household, as Friday, January 20th, was actually our family day. It was our 1-year adoption, our 1-year anniversary of when we adopted our two boys, Tracy and Draco. I can't believe that a year has flown by as quickly as it did, especially when some of those days, especially being a stay-home dad, seemed like they were going on forever. But here we are, a year later, Family Day. And I had actually wanted to get this episode out last week, but with everything getting ready for the 1-year anniversary and just all anticipation for it, and it was just a busy week, and time kind of got away from me. And if you're a parent, you know what that's like. Time gets away from you. But here we are, 1 year later. The boys are 3.5 and 2.5, happy, healthy, doing well. It's just been an incredible year. And the boys have both grown so much in that 1 year, and I'd like to think my wife and I have had some growth as well. We've learned, attempted, succeeded, and failed at various parenting strategies and methods. We had moments of complete joy and moments of, how did we get here? Are we helping them? Are we hurting them? Are we damaging them? Or is this normal? Questions like that just coming into our minds. And then we had moments of complete fear, such as turning around at the zoo and realizing that one of them was nowhere in sight, only to find them getting a drink from the water fountain just a few yards away. Or when one of the boys comes into the room with hot wax dripping down his face after he somehow reached a candle that we were sure was out of reach. We've had preschool days where he described them as perfect. It was a perfect day. And other days where it got off to a rough start, and it wasn't just a rough start for him. We had a rough time getting him off to school. So many memories, so many lessons created within just this last year. And I wanted to bring some value to those of you that are listening. So I'm going to share some of those lessons and not just wax nostalgia on you. So I'll definitely share some knowledge. Some lessons related to parenting in general, and some related to being an adoptive parent. And one of those lessons we paid attention to throughout the foster and adoption process, but it hit a new level within the last 2 weeks, and that would be navigating as a multiracial family. And that's where we'll start. During our fostering days, there were days where we questioned if the kids would benefit from being with us when it comes to recognizing, understanding, honoring, and teaching them their culture. And I don't just mean Black culture today, but really their roots and family lineage and where their ancestors were from, and which of the dozens of dialects from Africa did their ancestors speak. We learned about properly taking care of their hair and skin, which has different needs than white people. And one day teaching them about racism. And throughout the time they've been with us, we've tried to instill pride and confidence in them and their beautiful skin. We've used books, TV, movies, and songs like The Color of Me from Sesame Street to illuminate how wonderfully beautiful they are. But it hit a wall 2 Sundays ago And you may have seen a video on my social media talking about it. My wife and I were just talking about parenting in general, and I talked about something I had picked up about when your child looks for affirmation from you. It's good to give them that affirmation, but make sure that you are teaching them to be proud of things themselves. When they say, Daddy, I did this. Are you proud of me? Daddy, are you proud of me for this? Did I do a good job? And it's good to say yes and affirm them and let them know that they did a good job and you're proud. But you also want to be saying to them, how do you feel? What do you think? Are you proud of yourself? And so just after my wife and I finished that conversation, I go out into the living room and Tracy says to me, Daddy, I love you. I said, oh, thanks, buddy. I love you. But do you love yourself? And he just goes, kind of grunts. I'm like, well, what is that? Like, do you love yourself? So and he just kind of avoided, grunted again. I'm like, well, daddy loves himself. Mommy loves herself. Draco loves himself. Like, do you love yourself? And then he said, no. And I'm like, wait, what? Why? He's like, because I'm different. I said, wait, what do you mean you're different? What are you talking about? And then I, I won't forget this. He says, my skin is different than your skin. And I said, whoa. I just dropped what I had in my hands and went over, picked him up and talked to him. I'm like, Tracy, you have beautiful chestnut brown skin. And that's one of the colors they mention in the Color of Me song from Sesame Street. And he's always been proud of that. And we've always pointed out to that. Tracy, love your skin. Like, what is this? He's like, well, I want my skin to be peach like yours and mommy's. And like, Tracy, you have beautiful skin. Beautiful. And it just broke me down so hard hearing him, a 3.5-year boy, crying because his skin was not the same as mommy and daddy's. And so we were just trying to reassure him, and he ended up having a little bit of a breakdown emotionally later on anyways, where for me, what works for taking him out to get him out of his emotional breakdowns or tantrums or episodes, whatever you want to call it, is take him outside, get him in the cool air, walk for a little bit, talk with him. And that usually kind of helps snap him out of it and calms him down. And so while we're doing that, I had him recite a little bit of affirmations. Like, I love my mommy. I love my daddy. I love my brother. I love my Eva. And I love myself. And I'm handsome. I'm wonderful. So I was just doing that, and he said it without hesitation. But again, later on, I had to kind of lay beside him. I'm not sure if it was just emotional swing of emotions that he went through from the asking about if he loves himself and then having the breakdown about something else. But he was having a hard time falling asleep. So at one point, I was on the floor in the boys' bedroom talking to them, and they, trying to get them to fall asleep and laying on the floor between their two beds. And they both got down and were laying next to me. And I just remember that saying to him, Tracy, your skin is beautiful. And I'm going to spend the rest of my life making sure that you know why your skin is beautiful, why you are important, and why you should be proud of where you come from. And he just snuggled into me more, and I just told him again, Tracy, I love you so much. Thank you for making me a dad. And it seemed to help at the moment, but it just kind of threw us both for a loop, my wife and I, just hearing him say that. And since then, we've reached out to a few friends as well as about how to approach things moving forward. And that's going to be the first lesson in today's episode. Never underestimate the importance of resources, and don't think you can have too many resources. We were told we were doing a great job already, but we've been pointed in the direction of more resources that will help us on this journey. The more we educate and learn ourselves, the better we can show and teach the boys the things that they need to know, both just about life in general, about the world the way it is, and where they come from, how to take care of themselves. So it's important that you have as many resources possible. So whatever you're facing, that may be a major common theme in your life. Continue to research and learn about it. There's no problem with learning more about whatever it is you're facing, especially when it comes to trying to pass on that knowledge and affirmation to your kids. And another thing that kind of popped up as well, like just a few days later, was Tracy asking about if we were mad at him, if he did something wrong, if we were going to send him to another home. And that was another just blew our minds. And so I'd ask him, like, Tracy, like, when Daddy gets mad at you, do you think I'm going to send you somewhere else? We're going to send you to another home? Like, you are a Gruss. You're a Gruss for a lifetime now. Like, you're not going anywhere. You're my son. Nothing's going to happen to you. And so just, again, affirming how much you love your kids, affirming how much important they are to you and your family, and how big of a part they play in your family, and just making sure that they feel safe and secure, and just use whatever resources you can to help with those kind of things. Another lesson and kind of unpopular opinion or unrecognized opinion would be that adoption is trauma. I said adoption is trauma. What I mean is that often when we share our story with people, the first thing people will say to us is that, oh, the kids are so lucky to have you. They're so lucky. And I get what they're saying, but we correct them and say that we can be a blessing to those kids, but they're not lucky to have been in a situation they were in. They're not lucky to have had their family pulled apart for them to then come to us. And that's why I say adoption is trauma, because in order for our family to become whole, for that piece of our family to come to us, another family had to be pulled apart. Some form of trauma happened to pull those kids from their family, or for the family to have surrendered those kids over to the county or state or whatever it may be for adoption. So that is one part of the trauma. A family is pulled apart to create another family. Then there's the trauma we experience as parents, thinking about the bio parents on days like Mother's Day and Father's Day, as well as the birthdays and other holidays like Christmas, and wondering how the bio parents are doing, if they're thinking about the kids, if they recognize what day it is, and knowing that they are missing that piece of their celebration, and we get to experience that cloud nine feeling of, I love you, Daddy, happy Father's Day, happy Mother's Day, love you, Mommy, and the gifts that we get, knowing that there's someone else that would have had that, and instead those kids are with us. And lastly, we recognize that there will be more trauma, questioning, and acceptance needed in the future when the boys understand better what adoption truly means and what their background story is. And we know that they may need counseling to help them face that reality and help them form their own identity. And there will certainly be the possibility of them wanting to find out more about their biofamilies, as they do have other siblings out there whom they don't know and haven't met. But my wife and I took our youngest, Draco, in when we were still in the foster care stages because we both knew how important siblings were. My wife being the oldest of three siblings, me being the youngest. And we were only licensed for one. We only had really planned on having one foster child at a time, but we wanted to keep the boys together for whatever family would possibly be adopting these two boys. Little did we know that it was going to be us. But we knew how important siblings would be, and we're not going to selfishly deny that later. So with that, the fact that when they recognize more what adoption is and they ask more questions, and the fact that they have other siblings out there that they may want to meet, we're going to respect that and help them with that however we can. And we'll understand that probably more counseling is going to come with that, perhaps for everyone. Now let's bring the energy up a little bit and talk about less serious, but still very beneficial lessons that we learned. One, the importance of memberships. Amazon Prime for supplies to order supplies. Amazon Prime to order supplies and TV shows for the kids to watch. That's a huge one. Amazon Prime. I know some people are very anti-Amazon, and we like to support, small businesses whenever we can as well. But sometimes the simplicity of Amazon and the cost and everything, it's just beneficial to have that. And again, the TV shows and the movies that we can watch, we've discovered some really good ones on there. The kids already love Wild Kratts. We ended up finding out about older show that the Wild Kratts had before Wild Kratts, and that was a Boomafoo. And my wife mentioned another one today that she found. So kind of cool to find those on Amazon Prime, and some other shows that maybe I used to watch as a kid growing up and share those with them. And so it's just a lot of fun. So Amazon Prime, the zoo, library, and museum memberships for activities when you need a change of pace or change of scenery. And then, of course, importantly, gym memberships for taking care of yourself and having a way to blow off some steam. As I've moved back into the fitness industry part-time, I knew I needed to walk the walk instead of just talk the talk. And I started exercising more regularly, and I immediately started to notice the benefits of the exercise and blowing off that steam, that I'm able to better adjust my temperament, my attitude during those high stress situations with the kids. And I'm able to handle things in a much calmer demeanor during those stressful situations, since I have that gym as an outlet. I'm still not perfect, but I've come a long way. There's still days where I might still raise my voice and get a little bit upset, but it's still much different than it was when I wasn't working out. So take advantage of memberships. You might add a massage parlor or a nail salon membership on to that for some self-care for yourself if you want. Those memberships can be very beneficial as well. 2, if something works, then don't be afraid to ride it out. I mentioned zoo and museum memberships. Well, we have become bi-weekly visitors to the zoo and the rainforest here at the Cleveland Metro Park Zoo. Mainly because my boys love animals so much. We go at least once every 2 weeks, and a lot of the a lot of employees are getting to recognize me and the kids because we are there so much. A fun thing is when we're there and there's another family by us, and you can hear them talking, and my son definitely hears them talking to Tracy, and he'll suddenly just rattle off information about the animal that they're looking at and get the correct name. And how they do this, how they do that. And the family's like, whoa, like, how did you know that? I'm like, oh, we're here like once every 2 weeks. So, but it is fun to see um, the families look on in amazement at how smart my 3.5-year-old boy is. If we have an open schedule and I want to spend some time with my kids being happy, then I'm not afraid to do the same thing again and again, like going to the zoo and the rainforest. And the library is the other free adventure you can take advantage of again and again and again. There's thousands of books, DVDs, and play areas all at your disposal and free to soak up a couple of hours every day, and it keeps the kids entertained, especially if your library is part of a system like we live in Cuyahoga County. So we have there's a good, at least handful of really nice libraries throughout the county, all with like different features and setups. Some of them that have been renovated lately, which are really neat and like different features. But the nice thing too, everyone kind of remembers the libraries of being a quiet place to go and gotta keep quiet. Well, normally in the kid areas, like yes, they want you to still kind of keep it down, but the kid area is separate from the rest of the library, so you can get away with the kids being a little bit louder. Now, thirdly, what about when the kids aren't happy and you're having a hard time getting them to follow directions? The meltdowns are coming in frequently, and you feel like you're at the end of your rope as a parent. Resources, resources, resources. You can never learn too much or over-equip yourself when it comes to parenting and strategies. You'll have heard me mention a wonderful book a friend gave me, How to Talk So Your Kids Will Listen and How to Listen So Your Kids Will Talk. It has great suggestions and strategies in there, but in the course of a day, the same strategy might not work every time. So you have to adapt, you have to shift. So make the most out of that trip to the library and find other parenting books, connect with parents at book readings or other events you take your kids to. Also, to help yourself manage those stressful parenting situations. Follow parenting groups on social media or parenting accounts. Some of the ones I like to follow on Instagram are Big Life Journal, Tired Dad, Conscious Mommy, Trauma Based Parenting, and Unconditional Parenting. For a little bit more of a humorous side, I enjoy Bluey Mums. That one is based off of the cartoon Bluey. A lot of like cute little funny memes and everything in there. One Awkward Mom, Message with a Bottle, not Message in a Bottle, but Message with a Bottle, and 6 Foot Candy. And there's more that pop up in my feed like every day, thanks to the almighty algorithm. But there are a lot of great parent focused accounts on social media. So definitely look into some of those. And don't be afraid to look online, like on Facebook, for local parenting groups or events that have outings and get togethers. Within the next couple of weeks, I should be speaking with the executive director of a local organization here in Northeast Ohio that has programs for kids and parents alike, and that company being Connecting for Kids. My wife and I, before the new year, went to a parenting meeting, like how to handle stressful situations as a parent. And it was like a therapy session full of like 30 parents, but full of laughter and release, and getting other parents to hear them say like kind of what they're struggling with and how they handle it, and kind of trading some of those like trade secrets as a parent and encouraging one another, saying like, you're going to be okay. That I remember that stage. You're going to get through it. This is the stage you got to watch for next. So it's a really great to have groups like that. So I'm sure there's groups like that probably within your community, or even because of the pandemic, probably some online Zooms that you could be a part of as well. So definitely just look into some. Find something that works for your area, or really for what you're looking for. Google and Facebook are not bad ways to go to find some support. So bottom line, it's been a heck of a journey for us as a fully official family over the last year. We've had our shares of ups and downs, and we know that being a parent isn't just a short-term thing. It's a lifelong journey and commitment. That's evidenced by how much my wife and I still turn to my good old dad to come help us with various things, because I am in no way a handyman kind of guy. So there's still a lot of things that kind of rely on good old pops to come over and help us with, as well as grandpa and grandma both watching the kids on occasion for us to get away and relieve some stress. So, but we know our upcoming journey will take us all over the place, to places we didn't even know were possible. But that's why it's important to surround yourself with amazing, supportive people, to do your share of research, take advantage of the perks of various memberships. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, and stick to what works when you can. And find yourself resources for you and the kids in the shape of books, events, and support groups. And I hope by the fact that you're listening to this that you'll consider me as one of those resources. And if there's anything I can do, help you personally myself, or turn you to a resource, please do not hesitate to reach out so I can help you on whatever stage of the family journey that you're on. But that's going to be all for today. Make sure you tune back in next week, as I have a wonderful discussion with men's infertility author Ryan Smith. And we talk about how his experience dealing with fertility struggles led him to picking up a new hobby that turned into a book, that turned into a part of a movement of men supporting men with infertility. And again, another example of resources, having people support each other, because it doesn't matter where you come from, what your background is, what your political views are. We're all family here. We're born into our names, but we become family by heart. Nothing changes if nothing changes. A simple but powerful statement. It describes the action and response of life in the most natural way. And when things do change, they change quickly and pretty drastically. Believe me, I know. In just 2 years, I went from being a personal trainer to a painter to a full-time stay-at-home dad, back to personal training, and that's on top of all my coaching and speaking that I've been doing. And that video is actually from my online course, Goals to Greatness. And while people loved that course and saw success from it, one of the things I kept hearing is that it's getting kind of hard to log into an online course with everything going on in life. That's why I decided to make a change myself and turn my course into this very simple, easy to follow workbook. You can download a digital copy by following the links in my bio. It has all the same great lessons that are in the online course here in a easy to follow, go at your own pace workbook. Make sure you go pick up your copy so you can set your goals and move to greatness. Make 2023 your year of greatness. Keep moving forward and step up to greatness.